The thick green wall of ferns shivered. A small head poked through the dense leaves, ears twitching at the sudden roar of the surf. The tiger pushed forward, snapping a thin vine, and tumbled out of the shadows. It stopped dead. The world had opened up. In front of it lay a vast, flat expanse of white sand that stretched toward the horizon. The heat radiated upward, baking the surface. Yet it felt soft underfoot. The tiger lifted a front paw, hesitated, and then pressed it down. The sand gave way, molding perfectly around its toes. It took another step, then another, feeling the grains shift and slide with every movement. The weight of its body sank deeper than it ever had in the forest soil. It looked back at the dark, tangled edge of the jungle, then turned its gaze toward the blue water crashing in the distance. The air here was different, sharp, salt-heavy, and moving fast. It took a deep breath, tasted the spray, and let out a short, high-pitched chirp. The beach was empty. The beach was warm. It took a long, confident stride forward, its body fully exposed to the midday sun, moving deeper into the open space. A glint of color caught the light near the wet edge of the tide. The tiger tilted its head, ears flicking forward as it focused on a cluster of objects embedded in the sand. It crept closer, belly low to the ground, mimicking the posture of a predator. It reached out a paw and tapped a bright orange shell. The object skittered away with a dry, clicking sound against the grit. The movement triggered a sudden reaction. The tiger lunged, front claws catching the sand, and sent the shell spinning toward the dunes. It pounced again, missing the target and tumbling head over heels into a shallow depression. Sand sprayed into the air, sticking to the damp nose and whiskers. The tiger scrambled upright, shook its head with a sharp snap of the neck, and immediately locked eyes on the shell again. It batted the object with more force this time, sending it tumbling across the smooth, sun-baked surface. The tiger chased it, sliding on its side, kicking up dust, and rolling through the warm grains. It stopped, panted once, and batted the shell again, the rhythm of the game picking up speed with every successful strike. The shell game ended as the rhythmic roar of the tide pulled the attention away. The tiger turned its back on the dunes and bolted toward the turquoise water. Its stride lengthened, front paws digging into the firmer, damp sand near the shoreline. It reached the edge just as a wave receded, leaving a thin sheet of water over the ground. The tiger stepped in, stopped abruptly, and shook a wet paw, ears flattening at the sudden chill. It tested the water with a sharp tap, watching the surface tension break. Then, it charged forward again. It plunged into the incoming wave, sending a spray of crystal-clear droplets upward. The sunlight hit the mist, turning every flying bead into a flicker of light. The tiger jumped, paws swatting at the air as the water surged around its ankles. It pivoted, chasing the retreating foam back toward the open sea. The movement was constant, a back-and-forth dance with the tide. It stopped, planted its feet firmly against the pulling current, and shook its body from head to tail. Water flew in a wide arc, hitting the sand and the air in a chaotic, rhythmic spray. It stood there, braced against the steady breeze, watching the next wave crest and roll toward the shore. A sharp, clicking sound cut through the steady drone of the waves. The tiger froze, head snapping toward a patch of wet sand near the roots of a palm tree. A crab scuttled sideways, its claws clicking rhythmically as it navigated the debris. The tiger lowered its frame, muscles coiling tight, and crept forward with silent, deliberate steps. It reached the edge of the vegetation, and the crab bolted. The chase was instantaneous. The tiger surged forward, paws pounding against the earth as it cut off the crab's path toward the deep brush. The crab darted left, then right, forcing the tiger to pivot on its haunches, kicking up sprays of sand and dead leaves. They hit the patch of tropical flowers, stems snapping under the weight of the pursuit. The tiger weaved through the thick stalks, tail whipping through the air to maintain balance. Every leap was higher, every stride more frantic. It lunged, paws swatting at the ground, but the crab vanished into a narrow gap between tangled roots. The tiger skidded to a halt, front legs braced in the mud, nose twitching as it scanned the dense, vibrant foliage. It let out a sharp, joyful growl, tail flicking back and forth in high-speed rhythm. still searching for the next movement in the lush green maze. The energy of the hunt faded into the steady rustle of palms. The tiger moved away from the tangled roots and stepped into a patch of open, flat ground. Ahead, a small depression in the sand held a pool of still, shallow water, untouched by the receding tide. The tiger approached it with a slow, rhythmic gait, head held low. It reached the edge and stopped. It stretched a single paw forward and tapped the surface. Concentric ripples pushed outward, distorting the sky and the overhanging leaves until they touched the white sand at the pool's rim. The tiger watched the movement with head tilted, eyes tracking the motion until the water smoothed once more. It looked up, scanning the open expanse of the sky, then trotted back toward the water's edge. A discarded shell lay half buried in the sand. The tiger picked it up, held it for a moment, and dropped it back down. It stood firm against the gentle breeze, the previous intensity replaced by a quiet rhythm. It turned toward the horizon, braced its legs in the warm sand, and let out a soft, contented sound. The jaw parted, revealing a wide, toothy grin. The movement ceased. Everything stayed perfectly still under the bright summer light.